This is a class to help you set up your own accounting books, and the product that I use is Intuit QuickBooks Online. It is the #1 consumer trusted product for your finances. It has over 50 million people already using all their different platforms from TurboTax to the QuickBooks Desktop and Mint. It has 24/7 professional staff, technology, protecting your data, encryptions to your bank, and I hope you enjoy it too. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a preview of it. My favorite part is that you can use a PC or a Mac. I can have also the option to run it on my phone. I can run payroll on there, put in the app. I can do every transaction. I can also use my Kindle. As long as I can get to the Intuit, I can get to my QuickBooks. The dashboard on the online version opens up and shows you your open invoices, expenses, a snapshot of your profit and loss. If you look to the right, we've got your checking account, savings, we hook up the MasterCard, Visa, so all this can be tracked through the different banks. You'll also notice to the left, it says you're on your dashboard, you're highlighted on your dashboard. You've got little shortcuts off to the left to go to banking, your sales, reports, taxes, and also a new key, which in QuickBooks Online, this is where you do all your activity. They've condensed it in a new key. But the main thing with the banks is you're connecting it to your bank of choice. Most of them do work with the QuickBooks Online. I'd say 90% of them. And what you actually are hooking up is directly to your checking, and you go through and you input your password into your checking account. It encrypts it, puts a 128 encryption on it, which matches the bank. And so when you're working in the cloud system, which the online version is, you're constantly getting the free updates and the security and everything that goes along with it, never having to back up or lose your data. So there's a lot of pluses to this online version, and security is #1. So what happens on these bank feeds, you might be asking, what does a bank feed do? Well, a bank feed connects to your bank account, and it brings in what the balance is showing at your bank, and also all the items that cleared in the last couple days, or you can upload up through a year of transactions to get yourself caught up. Down here, you'll notice these are actions that have come in from your bank. Now, they're not in your live system yet because we're going to categorize them and make sure that they're in the right income or expense accounts. But the idea is that everything that went through your bank comes through here, and so therefore we should be balancing other than open checks that haven't cleared. Same with your savings account, same with your MasterCard. This keeps things secure as far as being able to have all the data driven in, and then you get to categorize it before it goes live into your check register or credit card register. Now the new key, like I said, to the left, here is where all your activities are. So you'll notice you've got customers and all their activities, such as doing invoicing, receiving their payments, if you do estimates. Vendors, the same thing. You can write your checks, create bills, pay it. You have options for the QuickBooks Online Payroll is bar none one of the easiest things to use if you do have employees. And then in the other category, it's making a bank deposit, making your transfers between your accounts, and all these are action items. To the left, I can go over to my expenses and look at the vendors with any open purchase orders, anything that's overdue, but it holds all the history for each vendor. So I can click on Bob's Burger and open that up, and we'll be able to see all the transactions, his bills, payments that we've made. And the same with when you can see activities or actions over here. We can make a payment for a bill that's owed to our insurance agency. So it's showing me that I have some open bills here, and then the last 23 paid bills that came up to the $3,000. So in here is where you would add your vendors, track your 1099s, and then on the flip side, who I bill out. So here's all the invoices for my customers. And you can see the customers down here. You'll click on them, open it up, be able to see their history. Again, this is a nice bar here to give you an idea of what you have open. We have reports that do that as well, but it's a nice view through here just by clicking a button. Now to the left, I'm again looking at reports. I choose my favorites. These are my 3 favorites: who owes me money, what my balances are, and my profit and loss. These reports come out really nice and clean. This is again in your setup. You'll set up your different income items, all your expenses to give you a net operating income. The balance sheet, same way, showing your assets and liabilities. And again, we have to choose what software that QuickBooks has, and they have quite a few here. We've got the Simple Start, which is your basic. We'll go over some of the items that differentiate these different software programs online. And you have Essentials, and you have Plus. And then again, the good old Desktop Pro, if you want to use for a desktop version, it's still reasonable at $299. You get to download it, and that is your version, and you don't have monthly payments like you do with the online. The QuickBooks desktop is a more robust system, 325 pre-canned reports, where the QuickBooks Online is minimal on their reporting, but a lot of times they picked out the best reports to go in there. Now, in looking at the differences, you'll be able to view kind of to the right here, all the different items that it would be missing. If it's unlimited, general reports, you've got enhanced reports. Main things I'm looking for is, does Simple Start handle like scheduled invoices, employee timesheets? No, we can see Essentials does, and so does Plus. I use Plus for most of my clients, but I do believe a smaller business can get away with Essentials. And Simple Start kind of reminds me of Quicken, where it's just kind of a check register. It runs some reports, but it's kind of clunky. I would say, spend the extra, $8 and go with Essentials on this. Speaking of, again, they give you the 50% off this case in for 3 months, but they do have deals and bargains going through. All right, and then also it offers your inventory. You'll notice the Plus is the only one that handles the inventory. You'll have the Payroll Core, Premium, and Elite. But all 3 of those offer options where you can do it yourself. It will give you the tax tables, or you can have them do it. And then you've got Elite for the higher employees that you have as well. So it really does have everything you need in here, including the HR. Now, on the Intuit website, you can go by and ask the frequently asked questions button towards the bottom on most of Intuit's websites. And it has a lot of the pre-canned questions that are often asked, and one for sure is the QuickBooks Online and desktop difference, and you can read about that here. And we're mainly concentrating on the online version today. All right, again, going back to a dashboard, this is what opens up when you get ready to start using your system. You log in, and it asks you your type of business. It sets you up with a chart of accounts that is, through the different businesses that are using that type. It gives you a pre-canned chart of accounts that will help you and guide you and is set up properly to start using it immediately. So as we set this up, the one thing we would have to do is go up to what they call the gear, and I call this the administrative tool. This is a one-time setup where you set up your name of your company. You can set up tax forms, any of your sales and expenses as far as how you want to see them in here. So your accountant settings are held in that gear that, once you get it set up, you shouldn't have to go in there. But the main thing you need to do is have your name on here to start doing some invoicing. And if you do want to add more, by all means, more information wins in the system. And you can see I've just put in a legal name and my EIN number to get started. And now I'm going to go back to the gear because there's three main things: making sure I've got my name in there and that things are set up properly. And then we also have the option to set up the chart of accounts or add to the current one that is pre-canned in here for your type of industry or business. And in there it will give you your checking and what type is it. It's a bank account, and you'll have expenses, cost of goods, income, all that. But you can scroll through that. Each of these come with an ability to view the register. So I view my check register. I could click the button here. I can also add new accounts, run reports. And you'll see here's some of the expenses. You can get as detailed as, legal and professional fees with a breakdown of, is it accounting, is it bookkeeping, is it an attorney? And so there's different levels to how you want to see your financial setup. But if you want to get started right away, they're going to give you the best ability to do that, and you can always make changes later. And then the third thing that is really important is setting up your product and service so you can make some money. And in setting up a product and service, you're really just going in and determining in your products and services how you're going to account for it. So in accounting, are you going to say, I hold inventory? That means I have a physical inventory that I keep track of. Or I just have inventory parts that I sell. I'm not really keeping track of it, so I'm not going to keep a physical on that. Service, of course, is your labor, anything really that's not taxable, or it's, you're selling a service that has tax in it. But for the most part, you're not tracking the service. And then bundling we'll go over. But a service, you're just putting in the name, and then if you have a category, so this would be landscaping, he may have several categories, and I'm going to say it's for weekly lawn maintenance, and you can choose taxable, non-taxable, but the main thing I want you to get is the income account. So when I sell this product, what it's asking me when I'm setting it up is, when you sell it, how do you want to see it on your financials? What type of income? So I may have service income, I may have fountain income. So depending on your type of business, we determine what type of income it is to us once we sell it on an invoice. And the same thing would go if you're adding an inventory. An inventory is going to keep that quantity on hand. We have a fountain pump for $15, and when we sell it, it goes to sales of product income. And when we purchase it, we actually put it to cost of goods. So here's where I can say, all right, I've got a set price of $15 and I've got a cost of $10. So I know my net is going to be $5 on that, but I sometimes leave the cost out because I can buy it for different prices. Now, we'd also talked about the bundle option. So if I have multiple products that bundle into one, I may have a service and a pump that go together. I could bundle it as one job and just name this for the job of Mary Kent. And so that makes it really nice. But those are the options you have. It's not cumbersome or overwhelming. It's nice and easy to see, and anything that you do put in here, if it needs to be fixed, it can be fixed, and it will actually fix the history in it as well. All right, now we're going back to the dashboard. I always go back to the dashboard even in my trainings just to get you back on track here. And what we want to do again is look at the checking, and it's got a number here of 25. That means there's 25 bank feeds that came in. So these are coming directly in from your bank. It shows there was Books by Bessie, and we received $55. Also, we had some A rentals pay us, and then we had some expenses. But if I want to actually look farther down the bank feed, you'll also notice options where I add those transactions. All I'm doing is I'm just adding them once I have them categorized properly to my bank register. So everything's clean. It's going to populate my bank register, populate my reports, and from just me entering it here, I'm creating all of the transactions that I need to record this and then also be able to produce reports. So over to the right, when it says view, that means that I see there's 2 in there, and we want to verify what one goes with the 223 transaction. We also have deposits that match, meaning I put the deposit in the system. When I got the bank feed in, it goes, oh, we noticed that you had a deposit on that same day, and I could open it up and see what date it was, and I would just match it to what's already in my system. And you can see here if I need to change the category. So uncategorized income is not what I'm going for. This was actually for service. I can change it to service. And this is all we're doing. We're just categorizing at the time it comes in from the bank before it goes live into our system. And when I go ahead and hit match on any of these items, it doesn't add it or duplicate it into the system. I can also go into the expenses, change those to the right categories, making sure, and the system does know next time you go to Chen's Gas and Oil down here, it goes, okay, last time you put it into fuel, we'll put it into fuel this time. It's supposed to be nice and easy, and same goes for your savings account or your MasterCard. Now, once you get and have put in all your bank feeds, you're going to end up seeing those bank feeds referenced in your bank register. So here, just like your own home checkbook, it's got what your bank balance is according to your register, adding deposits in, MasterCard, expenses. You can see all down the line how it affects your balance. And to me, this is where I go first. When I'm out of balance, I go look through my register. Now going back to the new key, which has all your activities, again, I can do invoicing. We're going to look at an invoice. We're going to look at doing a check and making a bank deposit. Those are the 3 main items that any business uses. And so in doing that, if I have an invoice, I'll select my customer. You can customize these as well, but I needed terms, invoice date, and then my product. So once we had set up the product, it will be here for me to actually use. And over to the right, I can select different tax rates because it's also going to keep track of what I owe for my state taxes. When I write a check, you still go into the new button, choose your payee, and then you select the category. And on this form, really, this forms move everything through QuickBooks, so the check will show up in my check register. Now, it also helps me, so if I put in a bill that I haven't paid yet, it will show me right here that, oh, you have an open bill. Do you want to pay that? I'll say, no, I still have another bill here. Keep that one open. But I can add it right here seamlessly without having to go in and select pay bills. Bank deposit, same way. I can receive payments from my customers. So I received a payment from Cool Car and a payment from Freeman Sporting Goods. And the total deposit is $2,062. This would match what I took into my bank, therefore making my bank feeds available to see that it does match with what I've added in to the bank as a total. Even though it's 2 different checks, the total deposit would match, and therefore making my reconciliations nice and easy. Okay, we're going to go back to the dashboard and look at some reports. So after putting in the bank feeds, either doing invoicing or entering bills or writing checks, I want to go see the fruits of my labor on that and go to reports. And usually I set up 3 are my favorite reports. So in here there are quite a few reports to choose from, certainly not desktop worthy, but it does have my favorites: profit and loss, balance sheet, and accounts receivable. And on the profit and loss and balance sheet, I can see my income, my costs, my expenses, my net operating income. Same with the balance sheet. It has some pretty cool reports desktop doesn't, which is a profit and loss by month, so I can look at my income and expenses by every month for a total. It really helps me when I'm explaining to my clients, what is your low month, what is your high month, why does the expenses look higher here? So you're able to really, dive into these numbers and find out what's going on with your business. And it also tracks mileage. I know that is such a big one for self-employed people. So it does have that option on here. And then as far as the sales tax, like I had spoken about, the sales tax in here, you can sort it by a certain period of time, set it up, and all this is doing is tracking what you've collected from invoices. But it is a nice feature. And you'll notice for each customer in there, you can set up your new customers. You go over to sales, new customers, look at the different customers you have in there. You can drill down on them, see the detail. Same goes with your vendors. Just click down on Bob's Burgers. You'll be able to see all the invoicing you've done for a period of time. You can break it out by year. You can see a lifetime of what you've been doing business with them. So nice and easy to get to. And then if you want to use the QuickBooks Online Payroll, I love it. Nice and easy to use. Stores all my W-2s, tracks my contractors, and it's got workman's comp to that as well. So in looking at managing your own books, you might need some help, but for the most part, here's a great launching pad to get started. I'm always available if you need me for small trainings. I usually do an hour-long training to go over a best practices and a month template for you. And I want you to be able to know this system and understand your book. So I'm here to help. Thank you for your time.